This mutation is called Of Mines and Miners, and it is being played on Miner Evacuation. We have 3 mutators active. We have Missile Command, we have Minesweeper, and we have Mag-nificent. So many things going boom on this mission, and this is going to be so unfun. So let's talk about the mutators first while the players do get set up. First one is Missile Command. Missile Command seems innocent at the start, but once you start reaching, I think it's 12 minutes, 16 minutes or something like that, you're going to start getting nuclear missiles which will end up nuking your base if you do not end up clearing them out. Additionally, these missiles are accompanied by point defense missiles which will shoot down any projectile attacks. So basically you need hit scan attacks to be able to deal with that. If you want to know the difference, there is a video on Starcraft.com's YouTube channel. I think it's also available, I think, maybe on the FAQ page or the nuclear resources page. And it is a video that explains the difference between hit scan and projectile attacks. But both these commanders do have access, so Karax does have his Kaidaran monoliths, and Tychus has his Warhound turrets. They can be used to deal with the Missile Command mutator. The next one that we have is Minesweeper, and I'm going to try and show you as soon as the players start to push out of the base because you don't really get the minefields, but minefields will spawn around the map, and they have maybe like 5 or 6 Widow Mines and maybe 5 or 6 Spider Mines. I can't really remember what they are. And if you wanted to have a look, again, the Starcraft.com Mutators page has a picture of what a traditional minefield looks like. It's just randomized in terms of position, but it basically has, and you can see Tychus very well aware that he doesn't really want to push out right now lest he get wrecked by those minefields. So he will need some kind of detection before he is able to deal with that. I think the plan will be maybe to get Nikara out, and he already has his scanning upgrade, so Nikara is going to be able to, you can see there's a minefield over there. And one thing that makes it a little bit more difficult this time is that because Tychus getting hit by this, unfortunately gets completely destroyed by the Spider Mines here, and this is exactly what I was going to talk about, is that the amount of damage output from the Spider Mines are absolutely insane. Nikara providing a little bit of vision. So yeah, these minefields are really dangerous, and you can see here again Nikara getting picked off again by a bunch of these Spider Mines here. So these things are really deadly. The damage output is absolutely insane when it comes to these things. You can see there's another Sure Grenade here just to deal a little bit more damage to these mines in this location. And if that wasn't enough, there is also Mag-nificent, but Mag-nificent is a little bit easier because you can see these mag mines that are being placed around the map, so all you have to do is just keep dodging them a little bit, but he has to be a little bit careful here. The guard is now back with the detection to try and deal with and try and protect this evacuation ship, because this is going to be a little bit of a problem. You can see that Spider Mine unburrowing, getting ready to attack, and yeah, these commanders will have to be really careful. And unfortunately, Tychus' Sure Grenade does not actually end up one-shotting these mines, so he's going to have to pick this off very slowly. There's another aggroing over there, and I think there is going to be a bunch of Widow Mines as well on this side. Nikara getting picked off by, or getting hit by one of those Spider Mines. She has to be very careful with how she chooses to engage this. Another Mag Mine again aggroing, and unfortunately this one, they end up getting hit. I think Nikara might end up getting hit if she doesn't end up dodging, but she ends up dodging anyway. But yeah, they have to be really careful. One thing I was going to say is, like, you can see that there are like little bumps on the ground when these things are off the detection range. You can see, like, if you just rewind the video a little bit, you'll see what I was talking about. But because there's creep on the minimap, or creep around the map, it makes it a lot more difficult to see where these mines are. So that can be a little bit of an issue here for these commanders. You have to be very careful. Tychus is taking a lot of damage, and unfortunately, the first evacuation ship has been picked off by the infested units because Tychus was not in position to deal with that because he was trying to push, and he unfortunately got picked off by some of the mines in the process. Tychus is going to try and ramp up right now. He does have a little bit of free time to deal with this, but again, he has to be very careful with how he chooses to engage, because you cannot see these Widow Mines underneath the creep. It's very difficult to see. Nikara again getting clipped by the enemy forces here, and this next ship is getting ready to launch. That's just kind of weird. I never noticed this ship over here before. I played this mission so many times, I just never noticed this ship here. But you have to be a little bit careful. There are a lot of mines here. You really don't want to get clipped by any of these mag mines or the Widow Mines here. You can see there's another minefield here. You can kind of see this patch. But this is very difficult to see for the most part. Things are almost always cloaked by this Tychus again, trying to just dodge around these things. He's doing an okay job, but it's very difficult to start pushing through. And again, he's getting a little bit aggroed by some of these other mines and getting shelled by the siege tank as well. Just being again very, very careful. These spiral mines just deal so much damage. I think this area has been cleaned and will be pretty much good to go. Karax is already starting to put down some static defense here. Let's have a look at the masteries while these players get up. We have the Structure HP Mastery, Repair Beam, and the Spirit of Dune Energy. Try Outlaw, Tychus Attack Speed, Medevac cooldown, pretty much all standard here. Maybe it might be better to go for the Shred Grenade cooldown and get the Shred Grenade upgrade as well. It increases the damage, and that might actually be able to help you clear the minefields a little bit more effectively. Now Sirius is out as well. Sirius is going to start dropping down some of the Warhound turrets, which end up getting very promptly picked up by Infested. These Warhound turrets are actually really good as well for ending up clearing out these units, because they do not actually end up aggroing these Widow Mines and these Spire Mines. So that is one other way that you can be used. Unfortunately, the car gets a little bit too close and just gets completely melted by another hidden minefield that seems to be somewhere that I have not actually noticed. There's another Magmine that starts to aggro these commanders, and I think all is okay. I think they are ready to go and start triggering this next ship. And the one thing that's going to be an issue here is that this ship is going to be attacked by a bunch of Banshees, and these infested Banshees are going to be a little bit annoying. We'll see what the plan is for the rest of the Outlaws here. I think Blaze with his ultimate gear might not actually be too bad of a choice as well. He could lead the front here, and because they can minimize the amount of damage that he takes, his ultimate gear can actually keep him alive and throughout the course of this mission. We'll see what the plan is for these commanders. We are still a little bit of time before the launch. Okay, no, they've actually triggered the launch right now, which is good. And we'll see what the plan is now. We have a Kaidaran Monolith already ready, and they'll have to just keep an eye out for the infested Banshees, because those Banshees have an insane amount of range. So seems good. Let's have a look at the production. We just have attack upgrades coming up, and for Karax, he's going for the Spirit of Dune upgrades as well. But Spirit of Dune upgrades are really important, very, very important. Getting the power level that's needed for Karax. I think they seem to be holding okay here, but again, the Banshees have not spawned just yet. There we go. There are the Banshees now, and we'll see how they will start to aggro this Kaidaran Monolith. So I don't know if Karax wants to try and take that out first. They will actually end up focusing on Sirius's Warhound turrets, which is actually really good. Keeping the Kaidaran Monolith alive to deal more of the damage. There is also an attack wave. I think there's probably a drop overlord or whatever the enemy comp here is. A random medevac that's just sitting on the back here, not really doing anything. So that ping marker is going to be remaining on this map for a while. And I think, yeah, everything is okay. The ship is going to get launched without too many problems. But now, there's going to be the next hard part, which is making their way towards the next evacuation ship. And that next evacuation ship is, again, going to be a little bit further away. This whole area has been cleared, so Tychus can move directly through. But he's going to have to be a little bit careful once he reaches this point here. So, oh, he wants to move up here. He has to be a little bit careful. There are a lot of Widow Mines over there. Very nice emergency kill from the car. Does end up saving the rest of his Outlaws before they end up getting aggroed. All the Spire Mines have gone, so that could have been absolutely devastating here. There are, again, a little bit careful, because there could be a lot of Spire Mines here, and these Spire Mines just do not mess around. They just end up wiping you so fast. And you can't really dodge very quickly as well. Unless you're really paying attention and you have a medevac ready for pickup, you can't really dodge those Spire Mines very quickly. But they will start to clear this expansion, which is good. It's nice to see the players want to clear their expansion. And I don't know whether it will be worth doing right now, because already a good chunk of it has been... a good chunk of this mission has been done. This Karax's Unity Barrier does end up helping Tychus as well. That there was a Widow Mine that ended up proccing onto this, but no damage was taken by any of these Outlaws. And now we have the Splitter Missiles that are spawning here, which is again going to be a bit of a problem. The enemy attack composition is going to be the Minion Battle Group, which is the Air Terran composition. It'll be a little bit annoying, but again, nothing Sirius can't handle. Only Nux can't handle if you go for Nux here. Personally, I think Blaze is probably going to be the next choice now. Blaze, potentially even Rattlesnake. They're just trying to aggro and dodge out of these Mag-mines here. Fortunately, one does end up clipping them. Most of the time you just end up trying to dodge half these missiles or half these mines. You can see there's another minefield over there. Tychus, I think, has noticed that. Now he's just going to drop a bunch of series turrets. You see, it takes a while for series to end up cleaning out these minefields. So I think Tychus, maybe with the Strike Grenade, might be able to help a little bit. Just start clearing out these mines here. Because it's basically the Spiral Mines that deal more damage than you can actually handle. I think this has been cleared now. Again, Tychus will have to be careful because one misstep and you can just completely end up losing your entire Outlaw army. You can see that there is another minefield that is sitting over here, and it's because there's creep, as I said earlier, a little bit more difficult. And Karax using the Purifier Beam, unfortunately not using the Purifier Beam. Okay, there we go. Now he knows that there's a minefield here. This Purifier Beam will end up clearing out these minefields in this location. I think this area is more or less safe. Start moving forward just to trigger this mag mine. Mag mines unfortunately cannot be killed by the player commanders, but now we have a nuke on the way. This is at the 15-minute mark, so it's at the 15-minute mark. I said I think 16 at the start of the mission. This nuke is making its way towards a random player structure, and these are the point defense missiles. We can see these point defense missiles are soaking up all the photon cannon damage, but they cannot actually stop the damage caused by the Kaidaran Monolith, and this is why Kaidaran Monoliths are so invaluable for commanders that are playing against this Missile Command Mutator. These monoliths are very, very useful because they are a hit scan attack. And now we have a panic launch timing for Tychus, and this is going to start launching this ship. And we will see how these commanders deal with this. There's no static defense here for Karax. Karax was a little bit slow in getting up his structures here. But Tychus should not really have any problems dealing with the infested units here. I think he's also spent all his money on upgrades for his outlaws, so he doesn't even have a fourth outlaw out just yet. But I think he'll be fine as well. They don't really need that much. Blaze would be a very nice choice here to add. You can see Kaidaran Monolith again having no problems dealing with the nuclear missiles that are spawning. These splitter missiles are a little bit annoying when you destroy them. They fire two smaller missiles that end up dealing some damage to the structures around them. But you can see Karax's repair beam is doing a lot of work. I really wish Blizzard would add a stat to the score screen that showed how much the repair beam actually healed, because on mutations like Missile Command, the repair beam does a lot of work. It generates so much value for these commanders by healing everything that gets damaged by these splitter missiles. And you can see here, this thing now will deal some damage to the Kaidaran Monolith, but the repair beam is just going to sit down and just start healing this thing back up again. There's a lot of healing that can be provided by this. There's another attack wave here. Karax cleans it up with the Solar Lance, and he also has the Solar Flare upgrade as well onto this. So that will be able to, he'll be able to support his ally as well when it comes to defending these evacuation ships. Just by putting them at these choke points here, you get a lot of value with the Spirit of Doom energy just because of that. Tychus seems to be fine. He doesn't seem to be struggling at all. Nikara going for full upgrades right now just to try and stem the onslaught of the army, the infested units that are spawning here that are trying to take out this evacuation ship. I think it's another nuclear missile that is coming up on the way, and unfortunately over here there is nothing here, and there is a nuke that goes down right on top of Tychus's refinery, and that ends up clearing out not only the refinery, but also we have a bunch of more splitter missiles here that are just aggroing Tychus's refineries that are still under construction. Very unfortunate here for those poor SCVs. Press F in chat. Pay respect for those SCVs. Tychus has moved out of the way, and he has noticed that there's an attack wave that is coming up here. This evacuation ship is pretty much safe, and it will be launching. He has to try and make sure that none of Amon's forces take out the evacuation ship, because if this evacuation ship goes down, it's basically going to be GG. And he has to be very careful as well. He does not want to end up randomly aggroing a random minefield, because that would basically mean that he's going to end up losing his entire outlaw crew, because those Spiral Mines deal a lot of damage. It doesn't really matter how much HP you have. Those things deal something like 250 damage, I think, a hit. It's something like that. It's a crazy amount. He has to be a little bit careful, making sure he's not aggroing any random minefields in this area. Nikara moving forward just to make sure everything is safe. She is the dedicated Minesweeper here, and I think this area seems to be pretty much clear. And a few more mag mines here, but nothing these commanders cannot handle. And is there another nuke? I think the nuke has gotten picked off by a bunch of Karax turrets here. So I think all of it seems to be okay. And yeah, there's another minefield at the back here. I'm not really sure whether these things will end up aggroing the evacuation ship. I think they will aggro, so it's a very good idea to end up clearing them out as quickly as possible. I think that has been cleaned up, and now there is a nuke as well. I'm not really... yeah, this is just a bunch of minefields here. This thing seems to be going towards Tychus's main, so it's going to be a while before this thing gets into position. There's another attack wave as well that is spawning over here, but I think this attack wave seems to be spazzing out a little bit as well. Yeah, I just see the value of this repair beam, just healing up everything here. The ship has already started to launch. Missile turret, or the nuclear missile, is already on the way here. And the Skydaran Monolith is going to start picking off the missile. Yeah, just one-shots up missile turret instantly. Or that nuclear missile. None of that is going to be hitting Tychus's base for now. And Tychus is basically standing strong right now with his 3 outlaws. Now you can see the power of that solar lance here. The solar lance with the solar flare upgrade just sets all these infested on fire, and you can see the damage output. This is the amount of damage that is dealt by the Spirit of Fidun, and that damage is just going to be ticking up one by one. Just keeping all these units off Tychus, keeping the units off the evacuation ship, making sure the evacuation ship does not take any bit of damage. At least any unnecessary bit of damage. Now there are a few more Banshees are coming up as well. Some Vikings. These things will end up landing in the Hybrid Reavers on the front line here, but Sirius's turrets are completely maxed out, and that damage output is absolutely insane right now. And I think everything seems to be okay here. There is now Nux being joined into the mix here. Personally, I would have preferred to get. I would have preferred to see Blaze here. Nux's storms are okay, but one of the things is you cannot really spam them very much. One of the things that makes Blaze so effective is he has his chain fire upgrade, and having the chain fire upgrade does make it a very, very useful. We have Pure Fire Beam as well getting dropped here, and some nuclear missile here that will get aggroed and cleaned up. But I find Blaze to be a little bit more effective on this mission than Nux because he has the ability to chain the fire upgrade. So what you do is you just move up onto this line and set the oil spill onto some of the infested, and when they burn and they die, they will start chaining back all the way back, and you basically don't see any infested units that spawn from this entire side. So I think Blaze might have been a better pick than Nux, because Nux is just a little bit slow. Now, there might be a reason why Nux may have been selected, he may be a second detector, but to be honest, like, you have Sirius, you have Nikara, because Sirius has Warhound turrets, and you have Nikara as well. I don't really think that is necessary for I don't think it's really necessary to get Nux out just for the detection. So I think Blaze might have been a better choice, especially with his ultimate gear, which reduces the amount of damage that he takes to 30 or something. He can soak up a lot of minefields. You can basically run him through all the minefields and soak up all the spire mines, and then just pick off all of the mines later. So that is something else you can also do if you want, especially when you have like dedicated healers like Nikara, maybe even get Rattlesnake. So there are a few options here. There is another nuke that is coming up here. I don't think this nuke will be able to be stopped here. You can see this is exactly what I was talking about. These point defense missiles they soak up so much of the cannons that it's very, very difficult. The only way is you either overwhelm point defense missiles or use a hit scan attack like the Kaidaran Monolith. You can see. Oh, I see what the plan is. I think the plan was to use Nux here to start clearing out these minefields. I guess that kind of works. Get the detection for Nux. That actually might not be a bad idea. Using Nux to take out the minefields. Get Tychus, get Nux out, and then use Nux, just one storm from Nux to clear out the entire minefield. That might actually work. Yeah, I changed my mind. That's actually not a bad idea. I like that. I like that idea. There's another nuclear missile here, but again, I'm gonna get aggroed by the Kaidaran Monolith. That one is fine. There's another spazzed out attack wave here that's stuck. And now Tychus is ready to start launching the next evacuation ship again. Karax's turrets are reasonably strong. I think one solar flare here would be really nice, a solar lance, just to take these units, take the heat off his Karax's turrets, because Karax's turrets are strong, but you can see they're not really invincible. So Karax might end up losing all of his turrets as a result of that. Now we have a bunch of solar flare. One more would be nice over here, yeah, very nice. And now you can just see the amount of infested that just gets reduced as a result. There are a bunch of Banshees on the front line here. I think a bunch of Orbital Strikes would be very, very appreciated here, but there's a Nux Storm that just ends up wiping out all those Banshees, and that is Amon's attack wave pretty much done. And now we have a bunch of Nux Storms as well that are being used to try and stall the onslaught of this attack wave, because this is going to be a bit of a hairy situation, because we have the Kara healing as well. There's no dedicated healer like Rattlesnake, as in that can provide an HP based heal. There are a lot of infested aberrations that are spawning, a bunch of Banshees as well shelling from the backline, but that's okay as long as you're not aggroing that missile, that evacuation ship. All seems to be fine. Another turret gets dropped, does end up killing off a couple of those Banshees. There's still one more infested Banshee from the backline here. Now unfortunately, because Raynor during the patch where Raynor's Banshees got the extra range, these Infested Banshees also got their extra range as a result. It makes them so much more annoying to deal with. But this area has been cleared completely. This evacuation ship has been launched, and so far so good. No nukes have hit these players' bases so far. Everything seems to be okay. There's another nuclear missile on the way, and now these commands are going to be moving towards the last evacuation ship. I think this is the last one. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, this is going to be the last evacuation ship that is on the way. I don't know if my overlay actually shows evacuation. Oh yeah, it does show. Look at that. I built something in that I didn't even know I built in. But yeah, we are at the last evacuation ship right now. There's another set of minefields here. Again, this is going to be a little bit of a problem. These spire mines deal so much damage. They are so scary. 4 more mag mines do end up aggroing, and Sirius unfortunately getting clipped by this. Nikara providing a few more heals. Try and keep this stuff away and off these. So yeah, I have another storm here that will end up picking off all those. There's still another minefield in this location. I don't know if Tychus is interested in clearing it. Might not be interested. It not really be too important. But again, has to be a little bit careful. Lots of widow mines everywhere. Tychus drops a nuke right now. He just wants to end up completely clearing out everything here. This place is now safe. And that evacuation ship does get hit by the mag mines, which is unfortunate because the evacuation ship is going to be starting at 50% HP. And yes, the mag mines can hit the evacuation ship. Yes, the minesweepers can hit the evacuation ship as well. Not the minesweepers, the widow mines and the spire mines. You gotta make sure that before this thing changes, that you actually clear this minefield. Because before it has changed, it's considered a neutral unit. So Amon will not aggro it, otherwise that would be ridiculously difficult and you'd probably lose a mission at the start of the game. But it's only when you start launching the ship that this thing changes. You can see now Blaze is being out. He's been added to the mix here. I would have liked to see Blaze a little bit earlier. I still think Blaze might have been a little bit better. Make it a little bit easier for Tychus to handle the minefields and dealing with some of the infested units. But now you can see the flame upgrade. You can see there are no infested units that are spawning in this location because everything is dying to Blaze's flame here. Blaze's flame has basically chained all the way back, and until the waves stop spawning, because they do stop spawning for a little bit before they start respawning, that is where they actually end up giving a lot more value. And that's when they will actually start to trickle through. You see Blaze is going to use his oil spill again. Okay, you can get a lot of value for that. But I think Blaze is just being used for the tank here. Yeah, you can just see the chaining back here. And now you're going to see basically no infested units spawning for a while until they stop spawning again for a while until the short wave. There are a few infested banshees that are being a little bit annoying again for Sirius, but again Sirius pretty much got this under control, dropping his turrets. These turrets do so much damage, especially once he upgrades them to the full like big missile, like these big uber turrets here. And this missile, there's no nuclear missile here. Again, it might end up getting aggroed by the Kaidaran Mollusts that are in Tychus' base. So they're pretty much got that under control. It's not even going to get there in time because this is the last evacuation ship launched, and that is GG.